One of the biggest things with this, and everybody goes through it, is the imposter syndrome. It's not unique to any founder that's out there. And if anybody's struggling with that, you'll eventually figure it out and you'll have another light bulb moment.
Welcome to the Overwhelmed and Over It podcast. I am your host, Gabs, and I am here to bring you this podcast dedicated specifically to helping founders like you build unforgettable businesses without burning yourself out. Each week, you'll hear me take conversations beyond surface level with experienced founders and entrepreneurs so that they can share their stories, strategies, and lessons learned along the way so that you have a less stressful and more successful business. Let's dive into this week's Entrepreneur. Joe, I am super excited for us to have this conversation. You and I met on LinkedIn. I'm excited to learn and share with our audience your story. So instead of a formal bio, why don't you tell us a little bit about your founder story in your own words?
I had been working in supply chain in manufacturing and healthcare for about 20 years. It's always what I expected that I should be doing. But towards the end of that, I got disgruntled with the way everything worked and nothing moved as fast as I wanted to. So I went into the tech space and worked for a couple of healthcare organizations as a business analyst and worked with development teams. And then I moved on to working for a startup accelerator for a year. And that gave me the first taste I had of the founder environment and helping other people, work on their dreams. Towards the end, I was still frustrated with the corporate life, and I really want to give myself a chance to do my own thing. So I talked to my boss, and he was super supportive, and I turned in my notice, and that's when I started my founder journey. And it's been a wild ride. At the beginning, I started a consulting company. Then about a year ago, I had an idea for a custom software product that I'm working on.
You and I have similar journeys. When we decided to go out on our own, like the easiest, I don't know if easy is even a word we can use with founders, but the simplest switch was going into consulting, which was something we were doing before. So it made sense to do it on our own. But is this it? Is there more beyond? I can be a consultant, I can do it, and I'm doing it well. But is there more beyond that? So I love that you and I share that in common. I want to ask you about is the light bulb moment. I think we all as founders have this WTF moment, or I'm ready to throw in the towel. And then now on the other side of it, you look back and you say, this is the biggest lesson or the biggest change that I had in business. What one comes to mind for you?
So when I first started out as a founder, it was really a slow go. Like I have a dog that was dealing with some spinal issues. And right after I left my last job, his health went downhill. Like he's paralyzed on his back legs now. And we have a 3-year-old. So there was a lot going on at that time. And I didn't really have the kind of time or energy to put into the business because I told myself when I started this, my family was always going to come first. And I was always going to make time for them and that fit in the founder stuff in between everything else I had going on with the family. Eventually, I got in a groove with my personal life and got that all figured out. And I was able to put some extra effort into the business side of things. Then I took a look around. I'm like, I really don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. Became a lot of going to YouTube and watching as many videos as I could to learn what other people have struggled with, what they've gone through. Reading a ton of books. I read all the time and really trying to learn how to be a founder on the fly. Like I said, I worked for a startup accelerator, but that was on a different side of the table. And it's a completely different story when you're doing it for yourself and you're putting yourself out there and you're putting all this risk on your own shoulders and you have a family to support and take care of. It just got to the point where I'm like, I'm never going to get this done. I was trying to do it all by myself. And really, if I can tell any founders that are out there, do not try to do it by yourself. Make sure you have a support system at home and make sure you have a support system with your business stuff. And once I started reaching out and networking with people, that's when everything started clicking. The networking side of things of being a founder is extremely important and you can't discount it. Like having a strong network and having people to bounce ideas off of, especially for me, where I'm a solopreneur, I was trying to do it all myself. And then I had other people to lean on. Then that started lifting that weight off my shoulders and was giving me momentum and energy. Yeah, I think I can do this now.
I love that. I always say solopreneur doesn't mean you have to build alone, right? It doesn't have to
Right.
mean you're on this journey in a solo way. Now more than ever, so many of us are vocal around what we're building, how it's going, whether it's working or it's not, or what we really need. In a way, we're in this beautiful time where we can build this entire network around us to bounce ideas off of or avoid. That's the whole reason we're having this conversation today, is avoid some of the mistakes that other founders have made. So I love that while it took you some time to get there, you're finding your groove, because that is the most important part. This can be consuming of our brain, of our life, of our feelings.
Yeah.
And so being able to find ways to cope with that and find a good groove really makes a difference between enjoying the journey or feeling worn down by the journey.
Definitely. And one of the biggest things with this, and everybody goes through it, is the imposter syndrome. I don't really deserve to be doing this. Who am I to think I know enough to be my own founder, to do my own thing? And everybody will struggle with that. It's not unique to any founder that's out there. And if anybody's struggling with that, you'll eventually figure it out, and you'll have another light bulb moment. I remember it was shortly after I hired a couple virtual assistants, and we were really starting to put together the timeline and build out the business, not just all these ideas in my head. I came downstairs. My wife was sitting there working at her desk, and I said, "You know what? Today was the first day I felt like a CEO." It just clicked with me. I'm sitting there working with a guy that has had 20 years of experience in sales and marketing and saying, "Well, I like what you're saying, but here's how I think we can change our brand voice and our brand messaging to be fit a little bit more of what I envision for our product and for our company." And it was just one of those things that like, wow, I never saw myself having a conversation like that. And now that I have, it finally sunk in that, yeah, I can do this. I have the skills to do this. I have the business acumen that I built over 20 years. Yeah, I know I can do this now.
I remember having that wake up moment where I was like, am I actually showing up as like a CEO of this business? Or am I just showing up like another employee who has access to business decisions? That is a huge light bulb moment, because I think the way you show up in your business every day changes once you have that realization that this is not just a fun project for many of us. This is our livelihood. This is our passion, but it is a business and it
Yes.
needs to be ran that way.
Yeah, a lot of people think they have these awesome ideas and they'll just throw something out there and everybody will come running, but it's a lot more about building the business aspect. You got to hit all the different corners of what a successful business entails, and you really have to understand that or find people to help you understand it.
Yeah, absolutely. What part of the business is keeping you up at night these days?
At this point, it falls in the same area. I'm really looking for a co-founder.
Mm.
I was trying to do it all on my own for a while and then hiring a couple virtual assistants and some other help. But I really need somebody that can sit in the same shoes that I'm wearing every day and really work together to build out a strategy and focus and build that long-term thing where I can focus more on product and, you know, target market and some of that other business stuff. And I really need somebody to come in and help me do marketing and finance and all that other stuff that I'm not necessarily really good at. I mean, I know it and I can do it because I've had 20 years of experience working in business, but at the same time, it's not my specialty. I want to focus on product. Product is my specialty.
I was going to wrap up with a question of like, how can we help you the most right now? So sounds like anyone out there looking to step into more like the operational side of being a co-founder and being Joe's partner sounds like one big ask. Anything else that our audience could help with if you had one ask for support or help right now?
The biggest thing is helping us get our brand message out there. Not everybody's going to kind of understand what CI is doing. It's a continuous improvement software. I think when we first started talking, it was originally a product management and a continuous improvement platform. And that's another thing people have to understand. You're going to have to pivot your ideas a lot.
Yes.
So once I started doing customer discovery, I realized that continuous improvement didn't have their needs met as well as product management. So I focused in that area. We're really trying to get our message out, expand our network, especially with LinkedIn. We envision that kind of being one of our main traction channels for sales in the future because we're working on our MVP right now. But come in, check us out, see what you like and what you don't. Because honestly, to me, I live and breathe continuous improvement. It's been something I've been passionate about my entire life. And I really think that continuous improvement solutions should matter to everybody.
Hmm.
No matter what you do on a day-to-day basis, you're going to have to figure out a way to do things better. So even if you haven't worked in manufacturing or healthcare or some of these industries that use these processes like lean management and Six Sigma, these things can help you be a founder better. They can help you get your operations under control, help us get our message out there. That would be my big ask.
We'll put all the links to CI and to Joe on LinkedIn in the show notes so that way you can connect with Joe and reach out and tell him that you're seeing the work that he's doing.
Come connect with me and let's have a chat.
Yeah, you've been a great friend to me. And I don't remember who made the first connection, but you've done a fabulous job of staying in touch. And one thing I can always commend you on, Joe, is whenever I do ask you, how can I support you right now? Or what do you need help with? You always have an answer. And I think that is one of the strongest traits we can have as a founders because people are willing to help. They just have to be told how. So I appreciate that you always have an answer for me.
Well, thanks, Gabs. And I do remember the first time we talked, and you actually gave a presentation at one of the Agile groups
Ah, yes.
online. I was completely enthralled by your conversation. I'm like, I really need to talk to her.
The feeling's mutual, Joe, and I'm so grateful for putting myself out there for that workshop that day.
Oh, definitely. I am too. I mean, I've benefited a lot from it as well.
Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Overwhelmed and Over It podcast. This is the place where we have real life conversations around being a founder so that way we can talk about our failures and our lessons and we can all learn from each other. It is truly my life's mission to help other small business founders change the way they and their customers experience their business. And to do that, I love to meet with other founders. If you've got some things that just don't feel quite right in the way you are enjoying or your customers are experiencing your business, let's have a coffee chat. I would absolutely love to meet you and meet your business. Grab time with me at the link in the show notes. Hope you have a wonderful week, Gabs.